Got ourselves Lore going with first up versus SP, getting dotted up immediately with a shot over Des, but the man got himself quick, grippy before the dots can fully settle on the team too. We got ourselves Castles out of what's here with Jayhawk on the team, Demonish. We got RK Logic as well as Dismo as a one red paladin with Lore trying to see if he can get himself a setup. SP going for the shot over Death, Silence to follow, Panda Ration to break out of that CC, forcing a trick out of Lore, actually gives him an opportunity, gonna be a Lich Born to follow as he's zooming all over the place, got himself a trinket for the Remorseless Winter to break out of the shackles of the permafrost of the Frosty Death Knight. SP looking to catch up a little bit of healing. Lord trying to get himself an angle, does go for the kick on the Holy, but the shadow spells are all still coming right through with Shadow Word Death still accumulating more and more damage. Big full-on burst with Mind Spike as well as Mind Game. Silence of the Lore actually does lock him out with the last bits of the horror bolts flying at him. Goes in for a quick blind. SP still got himself quite a bit of damage, ramped up, ready to go. Lore without too many defense unless he goes in for a death pack right here as well as IBF. Actually looks like he's trying to see if he can ramp up some damage versus SP, blasting him out with back-to-back blitz, just cleaving right through it, that clothy armor. SP able to get himself quite a bit of damage back to Lore, break it away. The snowball still bouncing. He does break the bounce either way. The SP still holding on to a disperse in case he needs to. Stun, going to be very DR, does force out a Aegis out of SP, looking for a Void Charm, but also trying not to get interrupted. Big Shadow crashes on Shadow Word Death onto Lore with DPs back to back, trying to see if he can live this. Disperse this, come out. Lore is able to maybe someone turn this around. Hold on a second. Lore is catching up a little bit of damage here. SP able to recuperate a little bit while the Disperse was up. Going in for a bit of that Shadow Word Death just to see if he can blast him out, build up a bit of damage. Got himself yet another Shadow Word Death. That's going to be a bunch of procs back-to-back. Silence onto speed for just a second. Lore needs to pick up some kind of CC on the guy. Even more deaths accumulated back-to-back, but SP definitely needs to get the dots onto Lore to maximize more damage. Mind Games to follow. Lore, I think, is in trouble and does end up crushing him right there. With Dismo rushing out, actually backing away. Looks like he was trying to give this man as much of an auto duel as humanly possible. Does get hit with a dots though. This is going to be almost a Mind Games for SP with a shield of vengeance for Dismo, trying to see if he can get himself a bit of go versus SP. On the team one, we also got ourselves now. Oh, that looks so beautiful. That looks away. Holy Saya. Dirk's hanging out over on the other side of the team, as well as Aruna. I keep messing up your name. I'm going to try not to mess up your name too much, Aruna. Aruna Hindley? It's like a full name, first name, last name. Is that what it's supposed to be? Aruna? We'll go with Aruna just to keep it easy, dude. And like yesterday. You know what, Nalex? I actually got into Heroic in the Death Knight, and I didn't get a chance. I tried to kill Farak on Heroic. No Lego. So we're waiting next week. But everybody around me feels like are getting Legos, man. Everybody around me are getting Legos left and right. So next week, after next week reset, I feel like it's there, it's waiting for me, and I'm ready to open it. I'm hoping I get it on a Paladin or on a Death Knight over the Warrior, but we'll see. Mind Spike's out for SP. Does he have enough damage right now? Dismo got himself full Crusade at the ready. Void Torrent does go in to dispel himself with the Judgment, but it is going to fear him out for a second. Hammer Sail hanging over SP's head, but it looks like he's going to be able to... Does the hammer just disappear? I guess so, right? SP tried to see if he can get in there around the corner, got himself a Shadow Word Deaths just to see if he could blast out instant cast onto Arcane while also ramping up his own damage as well. Ring of Fire as well as Ring of Frost around the guy, but he's able to escape it easily. Arcane trying to get himself a good angle to push in versus SP. But with the Shadow Priest being as instant-casty as they don't have a lot of mobility, but that instant-castiness can at least help them keep moving while they're casting their spells, so they're not really super disrupted unless they gotta get those dots in there once in a while. Got himself Void Torrent, better damage into Arcane, taking that damage behind the pillar, trying to see if he can maybe break the tether. Ring of Fire back around the corner. If he got himself Ring of Frost as well, or Frozen Orb. I think that's what I actually used, not a Ring of Frost. I think it was a Frozen Orb. But if you could go for Frozen Orb, Blizzard, and Ring of Fire, as SP goes behind the pillar, that's a nice zonal build. Trying to go for Shadow Word Death in case it was going to be full poly. Silencer Fuller does still go for a Frost Bomb with SP. Trying to see if he can play it very, very safely, taking it behind the pillar just to make sure there's no shatter bonuses from the Frosty Mage with the Flurry, or none of that. With a quick Panda Racial, does go for the Trinket. Maybe that could be potentially stunned. Does go for the Fear. Full dots are in onto Arcane. Is rooted in place unless he can find a way to break out of this one. I don't know if he's playing Shimmer or normal Blink. Either way, though, I think only Blink breaks you out. Shimmer just to move. Does go for the full rod into a Ice Block out of Arcane as SP does lock him out for just a second. The man does have defenses coming back up little by little, so he's actually fine, where Arcane Logic also able to recover quite a bit after the Ice Block. But now that SP is behind the pillar, if you can find a way to get the frozen orb in somehow, if you can get the cooldown back for that, if you can keep it behind the pillar, taking the damage of fire, the frost, and I guess the fire and frost all together, that could be a lot. SP with full burst, got us some full Shadow Word Deaths back to back while CDs are down for SP. For Arcane does not have himself a second ice bug there. I guess the hypothermia was still up, right? I was about to say permafrost, but what would that even be? What is that? Easy 1v5 for SPGG. I'm done. You think so? Oh my god, Dirks. Come on, man. Okay. We'll see if Dirks, you're more than welcome to come back, by the way. But if anything, maybe we can get Nemi back in. Facile rather. But his name is Nemi on Real ID. Jayhawk, try to give SP as much of an honor duel here as possible. SP again going around the corner, getting those instant deaths, trying to see if he can get himself a VT. Surrounded by both rings, doesn't really want to go into one or the other, but he's trying to hold his spot. He's going to try to see if he can mount up, at least stay away from Jay as best as possible. Jay got himself that nice zonal lockdown around this pillar. He should be in a pretty good spot, honestly. Flash heals up for SP. Jay does not want to chase him around the pillar at all. SP being so instacasty, he actually likes playing around the pillar. He's actually perfectly fine getting somebody behind the pillar because they gotta close that gap. I mean, around this side of the pillar right here, like where the crowd is, on this corner, you gotta get really close. That gives SP an opportunity to close his gap, go for that fear, get himself that extra CC, or even the panda racial, so it gives him even more crowd control. If you keep him in range, he can't reach you with the fear. He can hit you with a stun, maybe a silence, but can't easily reach you with that fear. And I think that's why he wants to see if he can maybe just hold that corner as best as possible. Jay, I got a couple of options. Either you got to find a way to get some damage onto SP, then zone him out with a Ring of Fire as well as full burst. Maybe if you have yourself an Arcana Sphere, you might be okay. Got himself a decent setup. Trying to go for a fade. Panda Racial to close that gap. Get himself full dots. Could go for a fear if you wanted to. Actually gonna back up out of there for a second. Got himself instant cast if anything. Jayhawk trying to see if he can blast him out really quickly. Full touch of the magic. Big damage on the SP. Trying to see if he can play it super carefully. Fear onto Jay. Doesn't go for the trinket. Actually he goes for Undead Racial instead. Still locking out SP on the shadow. He's still blasting him out with a big touch. So quite a bit of damage. Sounds out of SP as soon as he breaks his lock. That's a stun onto Jay. Got himself a blink, but blinks right into a void torrent or right into a void bolt. Quick breath of the SP, trying to see if he can get himself some blaster damage. Poly could be potentially still PI if he wanted to trinket fade for SP. Just try to see if he could zone himself out of there. But it's full burst out of Jade. Does not have touch of magic, but it's still full burst available. SP holding on to a disperse as long as he doesn't get locked out on shadow. I think he's going to be okay. He's trying to see if he can make it work. But I think it's going to be okay. Ages for a second, gives him a little bit of shield. Touch the magic is not going to feel great either. There goes the disperse. This is where either Jay commits and tries to stay in, letting those barrages cleave down and execute down SP Cell, but looks like he's going to be able to escape that execute range just barely. Still not in a great spot right now. CC is coming back up for SP. Jay will not have a ice block here. Goes in for a trinket with a breath, so he does have at least that, but no more immunity. SP could go for a silence. He's not in a great spot. Does go for the silence. Does he just go in for the image? Does go for the fear. This could be an opportunity. Mind games gives him an opportunity to maybe stay in. Jay still blasting him out. That's going to be quite a bit of damage out of SP though with a void bolt. He tried to see if he can maybe not get interrupted by Jay. Does avoid getting kicked. Both of them are super low. Jay's still taking damage over time to the dots as well as whatever tentacles can reach him. Trying to see if he can go with that altered versus SP. SP has himself flashy heals. Panda Racial coming back up very soon. Maybe he can go for a bit of damage with the Vampiric Embrace to start recuperating back some of his health. It's actually a very close duel between the two. Jay got full set of burst right now. He's got a breath as well. So if he can get that breath, he'll be golden. Fear though, no way to break it. Stun right after, has a blink for it. Does blink away though. SP is going to see if he can chase it with a bit of damage, as well as he got himself more Shadow Word Deaths available. Able to at least recover a little bit of health whenever he gets low. Silence on the Jay as he's trying to get aggressive. That's going to be full. Mind gives fade for a moment. Does avoid the breath. That's going to be Poly. Does not get to get himself full go, but that's still fully. Jayhawk is dotted. If he can get cleared off of all the buffs, he might actually be going down. Does go for the kick. Finally, Poly to follow, but he's still rotting right down to the dots of the tentacle. I think it just might be over for this man. Invest for just the last second, sitting down for food just to recover whatever he can. Man's got barely any life, barely livability right now. This man is a walking corpse. I mean, he's been kind of from the get-go, you know, being undead and all, but this is, he's so close to death that he barely escapes it though. Full Panda Racial. SP trying to get the odds back in. If he can just get some more damage, just poke at Jay for just a second, try to go for check the power. Maybe he gets a shield. No, he does end up rotting to the dots as SP just came back with one more disperse, I think, for this match. I don't know how many more of those he can really get. Demolish is going to be up next. Full dots are in. Does go for Reflect. I think Reflecting dots back to SP. Does end up juking out a kick from the pet. Mortal, but the Mortal connected while precog was still active, so he does get to immune it. There's going to be Shadow Fury. Cannot really stop it. SP still taking a bit of that damage. Every time he goes for Shadow Word Death, he does take some health and damage. And with how healing is right now at 55% dampening, there's only so much you can do. Big spike onto the pet though. He does end up committing it there. If you can set up a big spike and send it into Demolish, you might be okay. Trying to see if you can open portals. That's going to be the passive damage. Portal as well as Infernal. Nothing you can do. Trying to close the gap here. At least able to get some damage. Does get interrupted. The pet, I guess he didn't get feared, right? The pet must have not gotten feared. SP, not an amazing spot. Goes in for a stun. Void Eruption. Trying to see if he can maybe make a play. Mind Games to follow. Just trying to see if he can commit. Oh, massive spike with a Mind Games. SP's at no health. Goes in for Disperse. But Demonish took a huge hit just there. The man's got not a lot of left defensive except for a wall, but I don't even know if that'll be enough. SP, if he can get himself another big go like this, just try to see if he can take down the pet. Does end up killing it. No more interrupts. Does go for the Void Turn. Nothing Demonish can do to stop it. Walling is just to see if he can live. Unless he summons a fresh new pet right now, man might be in a lot of trouble. I think he wants to close the gap and go for a Mortal Coil. He may need a new pet. There we go. Fast summon Fellow Hunter. SP does not have a Disperse. Fear goes in for a Reflect. Fear. No kick. Oh, dots are in. At least Spike. Oh! The spike! It does so much! Oh my goodness! Shadow Freeze! Oh my god! SP with 5. The amount of damage he did to the Warlock, like it was kind of like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But a spike Mind Games combo, I mean, it just chunked out a good portion of his health. Oh, that was beautiful. Let's see if we can get us another one going, boys.